viewers, and many thanks for joining us on the last edition of In the House for this week. It's Friday the 28th day of May 2021, and great is our delight to be here on this very historic day, the day when Nfon V.E. Mukete begins his final journey. We're definitely going to talk a lot about the great man who was a poised leader in both the Bafoland and at the helm of the Cameroon government. So do not go anywhere. We are definitely going to have so much to discuss on this day. And also it's the menstrual hygiene day. Yes, World Menstrual Hygiene Day, 28th of May is always celebrated as Menstrual Hygiene Day. This is a very important, event in the lives of women, young girls who start seeing their period, some as early as 8, 9. They don't know how to cater for themselves, but they go there's a lot they need to learn, and today we are not going to escape that on the platform. Are you a woman and yet you don't know how to calculate your menstrual hygiene, or let's say your period, to know your free days and the days that you are not free? You're going to learn that on the show this morning as well, so do not move a muscle. In the building we have great women, but before I present them to you, go to our Facebook page, like, comment and share, and as soon as you get a topic of discussion, you can always send your reactions to the phone numbers you find on your screen, which will be displayed very soon. WhatsApp messages, SMSs are welcome, Facebook comments as well, and a huge thanks to all lovers of this program who have been supporting us so far. Gwladys Bomotonguina, my pastor, French Queen and Gossip Girl is in the building this morning. Good morning, Gwladys.
Bonjour, Eileen.
Merci d'être là.
C'est un honneur, c'est toujours un plaisir d'être là.
Comment tu te portes ce vendredi? C'est déjà le week-end?
Bien, c'est le week-end et puis tout va bien.
Ah ouais?
Oui. Mais est-ce que c'est le week-end encore mieux quand il y a beaucoup d'argent là, tu sais? Quand
il n'y a pas, quand les poches sont vides, c'est un peu frustrant.
Mais attends, qu'est-ce qui va
tu vas passer le week-end à commencement à la maison en train de dormir, faire le ménage et tout ça.
Ouais. Donc tu sais, si dans les prochaines heures tout va bien aussi de ce côté-là, et bah le week-end il est super.
Mais tu sais, Dieu est capable de changer la situation là dans 10 minutes. Bon, il faut seulement avoir.
Effectivement. Bonjour à toi une fois de plus, et bonjour à mon autre co-panéliste ce matin. Bonjour à vous qui nous regardez. Effectivement, aujourd'hui on enterre, je crois qu'on enterre Nfon Mukete. Voilà, on l'accompagne à sa dernière demeure ce jour-ci, le 28 mai 2021. Et aussi, comme Eileen l'a dit tantôt, c'est la journée internationale des menstruations, de la menstruation pour la femme. C'est quelque chose qui reste toujours un tabou entre la mère et la jeune fille, mais qui ne devrait pourtant pas l'être, parce que jusqu'au jour d'aujourd'hui, on se retrouve avec beaucoup de grossesses indésirées parce que on a fait de ça un tabou dans les maisons. Si certaines mamans avaient pris du temps à s'asseoir avec leurs filles, discuter avec elles, conseiller, et puis les éduquer sur comment vivre leur menstruation, période de menstruation, ça aurait été beaucoup plus différent. On aurait de moins en moins de mères célibataires, parce qu'il faut le dire, il y a beaucoup de femmes qui jusqu'aujourd'hui, même étant matures, ne savent pas comment gérer cette partie-là de leur vie. Or, c'est quelque chose de très important chez la femme, chez la jeune femme. On va parler sur ce plateau. Je sais que vous êtes déjà assis chez vous et zélés, prêts à nous envoyer vos contributions ce matin. Ne manquez pas surtout de le faire, car c'est très très important. Votre plus peut apporter une solution à X ou à Y, et aussi à nous ici sur ce plateau. Sur ce, restez connectés pour la suite du programme.
Well said, Gwladys. She was just saying that if women were educated enough and they could educate their daughters as well on menstrual hygiene and what they need to know about their period, when it starts and when it ends, then most definitely many of unwanted pregnancies we have today and abortions will definitely be avoided or prevented from happening. We have Bokengo Worthy in the house, our health reporter in My Media Prime TV. She's always always so poised with her job, and she does it perfectly, and that's why we couldn't pass this day as we give final homage to Nfon V.E. Mukete, and as well celebrate Menstrual Hygiene Day. She has a lot to educate us on the platform this morning. Good morning once again, beautiful.
Good morning, beauty.
You're welcome.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Ready for the weekend?
We are ready for the weekend. One of those times that we actually get to exhale, like even though, well, your job can actually call you in the morning of Saturday, like the whole of the
Saturday and Sunday.
Exactly.
Sometimes very frustrating.
You are supposed to be on the field and you have nothing to say.
Do.
You just pick your badge, and you're
get
out.
Going.
Exactly.
The life of a journalist.
But it's always a pleasure, because at the end of the day, that's what we get to find pleasure or happiness doing, especially when we get to carry out all this research to impact the knowledge back to you, wipe off some of the myth, like what we'll be talking today, especially when it has to do with menstrual hygiene and every other thing that has to do with the stigma that gets to surround it. Yes, so that is why we are here for you, to make sure that you get to learn a thing or two, as much as we get to educate you and give you extra fun and entertainment, especially when it comes to gossip.
Oh yes, of course. So don't move for muscle. And like I said, it's a historic day in the history of Cameroon. We have our team right there in the heart of Kumba Meme division of the Southwest region. They will be giving us live reports as to how the event is unfolding there, as we bury or send the great Nfon Mukete V.E. Mukete to his final place of rest this 28th day of May 2021. And today on the platform we are going to discuss him and the great works he did, and so we are giving homage to Nfon V.E. Mukete. What is the most or what strikes you most about his leadership? That's just it. Homage to Nfon V.E. Mukete this day. What strikes you most about his leadership? Gwladys is going to translate the topic for the French family.
Hommage à Nfon Mukete. Quelle est la chose dans son leadership qui t'a le plus marqué? Hommage à Nfon Mukete. Quelle est la partie de son leadership qui t'a le plus marqué? C'est de ça qu'on parle sur ce plateau aujourd'hui, effectivement, parce que ce grand homme
Exactly. And we're going to get a little excerpt about Nfon V.E. Mukete and then follow suit with his career background, his contributions he made to the Cameroon government, to Africa in general, because he didn't only serve in Cameroon, he started his journey in Nigeria. Can we get a tip of that video, a little bit of that video, Desmond, with the sound, so we hear his voice talk, then before we get the background?
In the language I can read, then you don't want me in the country. Then you don't want me. When I say it, I mean it. I'm crying. I think it's very wrong that we should continue like in this thing in this country. People, when you do it and you ignore the culture of language for the two English divisions, what do you think you have letting them to feel? What do you think? People that will not tell you honestly, they regard them as inferior. Why should you not present the information to them in a way that they can understand? When the elections are to take place, you take the problem, the trouble to produce material in languages which will be understood. We send things to the various
Yeah, that's from Victor Esemingon Songo, talking there in one of the sessions of the Senate, because he was member of the Senate and the oldest member as well, fighting for the rights of Anglophones in Cameroon. We know Anglophones are the minority community, the minority group, and they have been fighting for their voices to be heard, for equal, rights between the French speakers and the English speakers. And there he was talking about the language, making sure that Cameroonians Anglophones in particular can better understand what is said in Parliament, what is said at the level of the Senate, what the ministers are broadcasting when they go to the field and come back. It shouldn't only be broadcast in the French language, which is, one of the official languages. English also was supposed to be part of the system. It wasn't existing like that in the past, and today we are celebrating some of these great leaders because they fought for the lives of the Anglophones at the level they could to make sure that things bounce back. It's true they could have had their setbacks, but they brought in their own little contributions. With the Anglophone crisis, they try to solve it at their own level, but we all know that the law has its course and they cannot take a decision by themselves. There is a particular way to go about it. So looking at the background of this great Nfon Victor Esemindong Mukete, who died on April the 10th at the Yaoundé General Hospital after a protracted illness. He was the paramount fon of the Bafor people in the Meme division of the southwest region of Cameroon. And yes, Nfon V.E. Mukete handed over to his son before passing, in 2020. And after having done that for some time, the great Nfon fell sick before he died on April the 10th at the Yaoundé General Hospital, like I said, after a protracted illness. And he served as Minister of Information in Nigeria before the reunification of Southern Cameroons with the French Cameroon from 1958 to 1959. Before his demise, Nfon Mukete was the eldest member of the Senate. And another thing we should know about Nfon Victor Mukete is that he died before celebrating his 103rd birthday. That was in November. So coming back to this political part of his portfolio, it is said that he started in Nigeria as federal minister without a portfolio. That was in 1955, and then Minister of Research and Information from 1958 to 1959, and this was the last political post he held in Nigeria before Southern Cameroon joined what became the Republic of Cameroon in October 1961. From Victor Mukete Esemindong will be laid to rest today in Kumba Meme division of the southwest region, a great leader from the Bafor land. And today, DK, let's just get your own idea before we dive into the health part of this program. What strikes you most about Nfon V.E. Mukete's leadership?
His confidence, his idea of knowing that being a leader doesn't just mean maybe you sit in an office and sign papers and give command, but you also have to feel the pain and carry the weight of the people that you are leading. When you listen to the video that was played there, for those of us who have had time maybe to listen, and that was one of his great speeches that he made ever concerning the Anglophone crisis. It is very, very true that you cannot actually get to pinch and punch somebody so much or every time, and then you get to expect them to forgive you every time that you get to do that particular thing. At a certain point in time, those people or that particular person is going to be tired and fed up and is going to retaliate in the best way possible for their self, to make sure that me too, I should be able to get a balance, that I am comfortable in such a way that if my children and my children behind me, if they are coming, they should be a little bit more comfortable. Nobody wants to walk your children to walk the same path that they got to walk. Even if you are a billionaire, you want your child to have a better life than you did. So that's one particular thing that I really respect and admire about him. He's one leader that did not just sit in the office and all. He actually got to feel exactly what the people actually felt, and he knew exactly what they felt, and he took it to the people that were supposed to ameliorate these conditions, and he told them that this thing that you people are doing is wrong. How many leaders do we actually have that are actually going to get into parliament and tell them that this particular thing that you're doing is wrong? Tell them to their face without fear of maybe thinking that you'll be kidnapped, you'll be beaten, you might be killed, or whatever. You're putting your life at stake. You're laying down your life for the people that you are leading. I think that is a good aspect of leadership. They say every leader, for you to be a good leader, you're supposed to be able to serve first. And mind you, he being a leader, he did not just serve us. He made sure that he tried as much as possible to make sure that youths back in the days had something doing. Back in his time, we get to have lesser juvenile delinquents on the street, because he tried as much as possible to create job opportunities for as many youths that he could actually give or extend a helping hand. And I sit and I say that, okay, if there are like 10 people like him representing the 10 regions of this country, like in every region we find a character of leadership, like for Mukete in maybe the west region, the far north, the northwest. If we can find one person like him taking the stakes for the people and taking it right up to government, is going to be really, really very good for Cameroon.
Thank you very much, DK Worthy. You spoke well there. Now let's divert a little bit to menstrual hygiene. What is menstrual hygiene, and what are we celebrating on this day? What do people need to know, especially women, about menstrual hygiene?
Well, when we talk about menstrual hygiene, we talk about menstruation as a whole, from maybe your period to how you get to pad yourself and how you get to dispose of your pad and how you get to clean or carry yourself during menstruation. Normally, we get women that get to wear one pad like for 8 hours. Like you go out in the morning, you pad yourself, and then you don't have an extra pad in your back. You pad yourself, and you actually know that maybe you're somebody who have really very heavy flow. There are women who have heavy flow, and there are women whose flow are not heavy. Now we have women who can flow like for 3 days. We have others that can flow for 4 days. We have others that maybe 5, 6, and there are others that even go as much as 7. Now if you're somebody like that, it means that at least during your period you're supposed to spend, let's start with people who have longer flows. Let's take from 5 to 7. At least you should have at least 3 packets of pad in that month. Why? Because you're supposed to change your pad at least 3 times a day. When you go to work in the morning, for people who are working, you go to work in the morning, you pad yourself in the morning, say 8, by 12, that's 4 hours after, you should be able to change your pad. Because when you get to maybe keep your pad on you for a very long time, you get to find that after the 4th hour, when you get to want to change your pad, you get to discover that the blood that you see on it is not red anymore. It's either dark red, maybe by the 5th to the 6th hour, and when it crosses the 6th hour to the 7th and the 8th, it gets to the green color. When it is already at that stage, there is a high probability that you might have incurred some infection or bacteria right back in your skin. You should be able to know that menstruation is like blood. Weights like wasted, like it's like
wasted blood,
you know,
bad blood.
Your bad blood. Your body is giving out waste. Menstruation is like wasted.
Dirt
your
from
body,
from
the woman's skin,
reproductive system.
So your body is giving out that dirt, is shedding it away, and you are keeping it. How can I put it? Let me just say it as it is. You're keeping it on your vagina for more than 8 hours. It really does not make sense. Like you actually take that and keep it in between your thighs for 8 hours, how exactly do you want
Catastrophic.
that place to breathe? It really does not make any sense. That's the first thing. Another thing is how you get to maybe dispose of this particular part, or how, before we get to the disposition, let's talk on how you get to change it. Now we get to find women that because you feel like you are menstruating, you get to use one pant throughout your menses. Well, it never stain. Excuse me, what do you mean by it never stain? You are supposed to change your pad as much as you're changing your pants. Now let's agree that you got to wear a pad during the morning and you got to the office. Maybe you don't have an extra pants on you. Okay, let's buy that. For 4 hours after you change it, when you get home, please change it. Normally or naturally, your thighs breathe in a lot of sweat and bacteria. Even if your pants is not stained, there is a probability that it must have absorbed sweat or the moisture that is coming from in between your thighs. So you're supposed to change your pants. Why? Because if you don't change your pants for that long period of time, especially during menstruation, where women feel like, well, the thing that has to maybe shed between my pants and my vagina is my pad, you just get to think that you just have to change the pad and throw it and then go on with that pant. You're accumulating bacteria from that pant back into your system. So if your pad does not give you an infection during menstruation, the pants that you are not changing because you feel like it's not stained or it's clean is actually going to give you an infection. The next thing is about how you get to dispose of your sanitary napkins, whether or not we like it. It's true that men know that, well, we have a monthly flow, but it does not mean that they have to see it. You go to the dustbin, you get to see it disposed anyway. No, for some
the
people,
streets,
now,
it's lying there in the gutters.
Exactly. There are some pads that actually come with plastic. When you open your pad, you get to discover that, okay, there's some plastic inside. These plastics are to help you maybe wrap them so that you get to dispose of it. Now if you don't have, maybe your own pad does not come without plastic, normally when you pick a pad and you have to wear it, you have to peel it off before you wear it. Now when you peel it off, that's where you put the one that you are removing. You've used that peeling to fold it in that wrap, the wrap that you just peel from the one that you're replacing, the one you're removing. You understand? So when you peel it off, you don't throw that. You peel it off, you remove the one that you have just, maybe the one that you just removed from your pants, you fold it and you use that peeling to wrap it or wrap it well, and then that's how you get to dispose of it. And a lot of women, mothers, please, the reason why our girl child maybe go to school or they feel frustrated when it comes to menstruation is because we don't talk to them about menstruation and menstrual hygiene. We get to have a lot of young girls who get frustrated. They walk on the road, they don't even know. You get to find them, some of them even walk on the road in the confusion. You get to see them blood dripping from their system or from their in between their legs, and they don't even know what to do. Some of them, they want to tell them they are frightened, they are frustrated and all. Please, gone are those days where we have to maybe hold these things in. You are supposed to be able to talk to them about these things so that when the time comes, they will not feel embarrassed and unaware of things like that. They will know exactly how to go about managing it with or without your presence.
Thank you very much, Bokengo Worthy.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much. And just to add to what you were saying, a tip: without a paper from the pad itself, use plastic bags.
Exactly.
Wrap it. Don't just remove the pad from down there and then you just put it inside a bag with all the other dirt. When it gets to the trash can or to the dump site, it's exposed there, and then people are passing about and seeing your blood there, your menses there. It's not cool at all for any human being. So women, use plastic bags. Sometimes you can use newspapers that are big enough, then you tie it now in one plastic bag in your toilet, keep it safely. When Izakam is passing by now, you tie the entire wrap on and then you can deposit there. You don't go to throw dirt. People are coming to pick the dirt and then they're seeing, imagine the guys working with Izakam.
One thing that I failed to mention, during menstruation, that's not the time when you get to wear black pants. No,
Okay.
Menstruation is the time where you get to wear white pants, so that you get to know whether or not it has stained. So you know that you have to change it.
All right.
Because once you wear this dark color pants,
you never know.
Mind you will not know whether it has stained or how much you're supposed to wash your pants, because since it's black, you just brush your hands over it. You will not know which particular area you're supposed to focus where the blood is. And before you know, you just wash and over it, and maybe you don't even wash the blood off that much. And then next time you're wearing it without a pad, and then there is blood still on it that you have not washed. So if you wear white pants, white cotton pants is going to help you. White pants are the easiest and simplest
to
for
handle.
you to handle, to wash. So please, we beg, auntie, sisters, cousins, nieces, we beg, wear white pants, cotton pants.
The trick is tipping it in Omo and a little bit of warm water, and that's it. Let's take a musical break. Thank you very much, Bokengo Worthy. We have a guest in the house. We'll introduce her after the musical break, and then hear from our panelist Gwladys right here in the studio. What strikes you most about Fon Mukete's leadership? Send a reaction. We'll read it after this.
I for it. I for it.
A great representation of what the Bafo community is all about, their cultural heritage and tradition that displayed in that beautiful music by Ashi Mboik. Very great artifact there. Thank you very much for that one, Desmond. Yes, we traveled to the Bafo land and we've come back to Douala. Now to introduce a panelist who just joined us here is Manka'a Mercy. The other name, today I know one go broke my tongue and I know one pronounce her wrongly. Okay. Good morning and you're welcome. She is Alpha Geneva Institute, and it feels amazing to have you here on the platform once again, Manka'a Mercy.
It's always a pleasure. I'm so honored. I'm humbled to always be here. Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us. We're definitely going to hear from you as we pay homage to Nfon V.E. Mukete and also talk about menstrual hygiene day, which is today, and all what the girl child and women out there need to know about menstrual hygiene. K already elaborated at her own level, but yet there is still so much to talk about. What do you use to pad yourself as a woman? Are you sure you're using the right pad? Are you sure you're using the right item? Today on this platform you will know why you shouldn't use certain items to pad yourself, because you'll be causing more harm than good to yourself. And can you calculate your menstrual cycle? Can you know your free days and your unfree days, the days that you're not safe, so you can fight against one and abortion sometimes? Let's hear from Gwladys this morning. Gwladys, bonjour, et je ne sais pas ce qui t'a remarqué plus concerne le grand leader V.E. Mukete, whom we send home today. It's his final journey, it's his final day. He starts his final journey to eternity today. And before you talk, let's say once more, we send our condolences to the Bafo people and the immediate family of the great chief who just passed. Your reactions, Gwladys?
Eileen, je ne peux pas avoir la prétention de dire que je connais beaucoup au sujet de Nfon Mukete, malheureusement. Mais lorsque tu introduisais le programme aujourd'hui, tu as parlé du fait qu'il a donné la succession à son fils en 2020, c'est oui. Ça. Voilà, donc c'est quelque chose qui m'a marqué. Oui. C'est vrai que lorsqu'on regarde dans la tradition peut-être de cette ethnie particulièrement, c'est ce qui se fait, c'est ce qui se passe là-bas. Mais aussi, on voit derrière cet acte une personne qui n'est pas ancrée au pouvoir. Oui, parce que pour quelqu'un qui est ancré au pouvoir en tant que chef, peut décider de changer la donne des choses. Voilà, peut décider de dire qu'ok, sur mon règne, c'est comme ça que ça se passe. Ce n'est que quand je vais mourir. Voilà, voilà. Donc African du coup, pas seulement dans certains, même ici au Cameroun, exactement. Il y a des chefferies où ce n'est que lorsque le chef décède, on ferme les yeux parce qu'on dit que le chef ne meurt jamais. Donc Nfon Mukete, il n'est pas mort, il est endormi. Ça c'est ce qu'on dit, les chefs ils ne meurent pas.
Mais pour les gens du sud-ouest, ils ne considéraient pas ça trop, hein?
Ah bon?
Oui, ils ne considèrent pas ça trop.
Qu'ils considèrent ou qu'ils ne considèrent pas, nous sommes des Africains. Le chef, il ne meurt pas, il s'endort. Donc voilà, pour dire quoi? Pour dire que c'est l'exemple type même du leadership. Du genre, je ne m'accroche pas au pouvoir. Je ne change pas les choses. Parce que c'est moi qui suis.
That's true. Like you said, he could have changed it if he wanted.
Il avait la possibilité en tant que chef, en tant que leader, de le faire. Voilà. Mais il l'a pas fait. Il l'a pas fait. Il a suivi. Comme ça s'est toujours passé et c'est comme ça qu'il a fait. Tout à l'heure, lorsque on suivait la vidéo où il est en train de parler du problème qui se passe au nord-ouest et sud-ouest au jour d'aujourd'hui, ça m'a fait plaisir, mais en même temps, Eileen, j'ai été un peu choquée. J'ai été choquée, pourquoi? Parce que j'ai la triste impression que les leaders africains, c'est au soir de leur vie qu'ils se lèvent pour la population. Quand ils ont encore la hargne, la jeunesse, le sang vif, ils y pensent pas vraiment beaucoup. Je sais pas, peut-être que à ce moment-là, ils n'ont pas encore assez de maturité. Je veux bien accepter ça. Peut-être que en ce moment-là, ils n'ont pas encore assez accumulé de choses à dire ou à faire pour leur population, pour leur communauté, et qu'il faille que ce ne soit que à la vieillesse que ils arrivent à manifester cela. On peut le voir même avec nos chefs d'État africains. C'est quand ils sont déjà vieux qu'ils commencent à avoir la conscience de oh mon peuple, oh il faut que j'arrête l'oppression. En ce moment-là, tu n'as plus de force. La majorité de choses que tu fais, ce sont les gens qui le font pour toi. Alors, qu'est-ce que tu peux véritablement faire encore en ce moment-là? Tu ne peux que parler. Il n'y a plus rien de pratique, de pragmatique que tu peux mettre sur la table pour ta communauté, pour ta population. Donc, je veux saisir cette opportunité pour amener les jeunes leaders, ceux-là qui ont encore ce sang frais là en eux, qui peuvent encore faire quelque chose, apporter encore un changement dans leur communauté, dans leur pays, de le faire quand ils en ont encore la force, de ne pas attendre au soir de leur vie pour arriver à parler des problèmes, des faits de leur communauté. Vous savez, la crise anglophone au jour d'aujourd'hui, c'est pas un problème qui a commencé en 2018 ou en 2017 ou en 2016. Non, c'est quelque chose qui existe depuis. Depuis l'unité des deux parties, c'est un problème qui a toujours existé. C'est un toujours qui devrait être décrié depuis, et essayer d'apporter une solution à cela depuis. Pas attendre forcément qu'il y ait des armes, qu'il y ait du sang versé avant que les gens commencent à se lever pour parler, pour parler, parce que même pas pour agir, pour parler. Moi, c'est ce que je déplore en fait. Donc, je ne sais pas, j'appelle vraiment à tous ces leaders-là qui ont encore la capacité de faire quelque chose, qu'ils le fassent. Qu'ils le fassent, c'est très important.
Okay, thank you very much, Gwladys, for your reactions. That well said. And we have this book that was written by the late Fawn, My Odyssey, which tells the story of Cameroon reunification with authentic letters of key players. That's what the book is all about. And yes, Nfon V.E. Mukete is amongst those founding fathers of Cameroon's reunification. He was there when the laws were made as well. And let's get some reactions before we move on. This person says, when he was strong, he did not say anything concerning the Anglophone community until when he knew he was nearer to his grave. And you see, he pretended to support the Anglophones. I don't know if it was pretext, but I think it's in line with what Gwladys is saying. He woke up from slumber when it was already getting late, probably, and he did the little he could, but maybe it was getting late for him. Oh my God, it's so sad to hear about the death of our Nfon V.E. Mukete. Let us all pray for his soul to rest in peace. By Junior from Lebialem. Thank you very much, Junior, for your reaction. That's the best we can do for the dead, is most definitely to pray for them. And we're going to come back for more.
Okay. I would say that he's a legend. Yeah. He died at the age of 103. How many of us were even aspiring to die at that age? Wow. So what strikes me about from Victor E. Mukete's leadership is the fact that he, was a very multi-talented kind of person or leader.
Yes.
If you go back to his educational background and even all the things and positions he held, you realize that he was not just a leader in Cameroon, he was even a leader in Nigeria, and even at school he's actually an agriculturalist or botanist. That's what he trained for. So it's fair to say that he had that multi-talented personality. He did a lot of things. He wore a lot of caps at the same time. You know, he was even the chairman of CDC, that's the Cameroon Development Corporation, and I'm sure it's because of his agricultural background, because we know CDC has all these plantations and they are into a lot of agriculture and all of that. So another thing is, he wrote the book you just mentioned, My Odyssey. I find it so fascinating because, for one thing, I have aspirations to be a writer as well. So to have a leader who even deems it necessary to write down our history, our reunification history, so that future generations
will have an opportunity
to read history, to read our reunification story, is something for me so unique that he did. I don't know of a lot of politicians who are really writers, especially in Cameroon. It's not like there are not any, but I think he's one of the few unique people who thought that, okay, that's nice one. I think I'd like to read his book.
If you read this book, you are going to be révolutionner.
Okay. Wow. I think even this is my Odyssey. I think I'd like to get a copy of this book and read, because it is our history.
Just like Cardinal Tumi, he has written books. And the last one he wrote was about his time in captivity, having been kidnapped by the boys in the Northwest region, the separatist fighters. He wrote a great book, and if you read that book, you have a touch of what he went through, and it's definitely going to affect you as a Cameroonian.
Wow. So even before I move forward, I'll encourage us Cameroonian youths, we should get a hold of these books. We should read these books, because our history and some of the experiences on our political and economic scene, they are contained in these books. Let's know our history. They are hidden there. Let's know our story, you know, as Cameroonians. So I think that he was really a great leader. And now, gearing a little towards the other side, I would say that, yes, was he 100% a perfect leader? I know there's no such thing as perfection, no doubt, but we think that there are things that Nfon V.E. Mukete would have done even before his demise. For example, like you're saying, before he stepped into the Anglophone crisis, it probably was towards the end of his days. Maybe if he had started being vocal or saying something before then, there's a possibility that one way or the other something would have happened. He is a renowned politician in Cameroon. In fact, he is a Senate member, the oldest Senate member at that. So he had the voice, he had the platform.
Before the president of the Senate was voted, he was in charge, him and the youngest member of the Senate. He was the one that ruled the Senate for the few months before president was elected.
Wow. So that's quite an interesting resume, and all we are trying to say here is that he was in that position. He had the voice, he had the power to move us a step forward. Somebody not do all the work.
Exactly, because somebody complained about him not doing much for the Anglophone community, especially when it concerned the Anglophone crisis. You know, that has been the biggest problem, that Anglophones feel like the leaders have left them out by not bringing in the greatest contributions they need to bring at this particular point in time when the crisis is heated. You know, people felt like maybe he didn't do what he was supposed to do, as he had the powers.
I totally understand the way we feel, or the youth feel, about this, because come to think of it, he is a fond of the Bafo people. Bafo is in the southwest,
in the heart of Cameroon. The crisis.
So it's like the south, or the crisis in Cameroon. He is part of one of the constituencies where the crisis is really hitting hard, and he is a leader, he is a phone, he's in the position to stand up, to do something, to say something, you know, to take steps to bring an end to this crisis, to call for dialogue or to do whatever actions were necessary.
But he could not have done it by his own.
And the people felt let down because they felt like he should have done probably much more than he did and all of that. And also, I think that we have this problem of a leadership problem actually in the entire Africa, where our leaders are so old and grey and they hardly relinquish power. They are just there to maybe death, you know. But the question is, at the age of 103, what kind of innovative ideas, what kind of things are you bringing on the table?
At the age of 60 ans, tu peux encore.
Your mind is already failing. That's what we are already saying.
Tu dois te reposer.
Yeah. At a certain age,
that's why they say retirement for some people in the public service, those with category A or B or C, whatever. Some of them get retired at the age of 50.
60 ans, 64 ans, 65 ans maximum.
Exactly, which could have been the age for every person who is holding a governmental position.
Yeah, so that's the question we're asking ourselves, that
it's disturbing.
Once you cross a particular age, what's the tendency that your reasoning faculties, like she's saying, is even intact again? When we have all these vibrant youth, young people who are capable, who are straight, who are focused,
fresh from university,
who can do a lot of things and bring a lot of you know, renovation and move the country forward. But these leaders have decided to just stay in place and not give
you
room.
Want us to go to the direction of people who have degrees. You
know?
Yeah, because we know of our degrees that we have here in Africa. In Cameroon.
It's not buying us anything.
It's nothing.
It's not helping us.
We just have it because we need to have it. That's just it. But practical people, people that can put something on the ground, that we can see results. That is what we are looking for. That are the kind of youth we are looking for. Youth who have the strength to stand and do something palpable, physique, quelque chose qu'on peut toucher, pas les paroles. On en a plus besoin au jour d'aujourd'hui. Donc, on se pose la question de savoir, est-ce que au jour d'aujourd'hui, on ne peut pas changer cette image de leadership qu'on a copiée de l'Occident, parce que notre leadership avant n'était pas comme ça. Notre leadership auparavant n'était pas comme ça. Quand un enfant naissait, on regardait cet enfant, on identifiait la puissance, la force de cet enfant, et puis on élevait cet enfant là dans cette lancée là, de telle sorte qu'il puisse produire pour sa société.
On a copié, on a exagéré, parce que même le blanc ne font pas ça, hein. Quand tu as déjà un certain âge, on t'enlève là-bas. Quand tu fais 2 ans du mandat, 2 termes de mandat, on t'enlève.
That's just the thing we are saying, because just about I've asked this question severally and I've really not had any answer to it. I've been asking. I know that in most countries, when it comes to leadership is a very sensitive aspect in every nation. When it comes to leadership, they'll give you a particular age. They'll say until you're 40, until you're 45, you can go in for maybe a president and all of that. I can remember, if I'm not mistaken, there was a leadership election in Nigeria where a young person of about 35 came up, and a lot of people brought forward the aspect that he's too young at 35, he's too young. For me, 35 is not too young. Then I pose the question, if you have a required age you think that somebody must attain before they get into leadership, why don't we have a particular age as well? Age limit, like, okay, when you're too old, you should move from there, because every other career or every other path, vocation kind of has a retirement age, apart from leadership, from what I see. Apart from presidents and maybe when it comes to politics, they don't have any age requirement. They could only have an age requirement when they say, okay, you get to this age before you maybe run in for, but we don't hear, okay, when you get to this age, you retire. We don't hear that at all.
Ça n'existe pas en fait.
It doesn't. It doesn't exist.
Pas. Et ce qui est choquant, c'est quand on a l'impression que c'est après, dans la vieillesse, qu'on veut faire des choses. C'est ça qui est choquant en fait. Parce que lorsque on est dans la fleur de l'âge, et qu'on ne peut pas apporter. J'ai dit tantôt hier que le mal continue de perdurer, continuera de perdurer, jusqu'à ce qu'il y aura des personnes, des bonnes personnes, qui vont décider de
changer
les bons actes.
Oui.
Si
les bons leaders.
S'il n'y en a pas, il y aura toujours des mauvais.
Because
on va toujours subir.
People look up to leaders.
Yeah, of course.
We have good